What is going on, YouTube? This is the Last Musketeer, and it's good to see you again. I am happy to be making these videos once again. So let me welcome you to the very first Aether Gazer free-to-play Is It Worth the series. So this is a new game that just came out the 23rd, and I was having a bit of a hard time with some of the bugs that were on launch, and also having a really hard time with Yostar sending me verification codes. So it was a bit delayed. I would have liked to get it out the same day that it dropped, but there were a few things going on, and not to mention that it dropped the same day as the big Syracuse No event in Art Night. So with the stream going on, I was a bit preoccupied, but going straight into it, we're checking out the login rewards from the mail. And so one of them was a really nice one for the pre-registration, which is generally a really good drop in most gachas. But I do have to say the 30 summons and all the other gear that we got from this one is really nice. You'll get to see those summons in just a bit. And you know, so far, generally when it comes to the free-to-play Is It Worth the series, it's always just going to be the first day for the first video. I'm not going to spend too much time into it, but I will show you bits and pieces of what I see right off the bat, and what is going to be a downside for me, or what is going to be an upside. Now, one thing I do see from this, the novice sign-in has some really nice stuff. You get a free character, 2 free characters actually. You get 20 summons of the regular banner and 10 of the more, I think it's the more rare banner, the blue tickets. I still don't know exactly if the characters that come out of that go into the regular pool later on, or how it works, but we'll figure that out as time goes on. And of course, as most gacha games, or most games in general drop nowadays, if it's free to play, is generally going to have some sort of battle pass. But I will say that it does not look too bad from the free to play standpoint, so it could be a one-up for this game. I do appreciate they're adding a good amount of summoning tickets and other resources to the free-to-play side that you can earn. Now, the packs, it looks like they're doing the generic daily, weekly, whatever free packs, just for a little more extra resources, which I always enjoy. There's not going to be anything too crazy in them, but they do give you a little extra, which I always appreciate. But when it comes to the actual gameplay itself, this one reminds me very much of PGR, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but one thing I do think is a bit of a misstep here is the fact that when you're going against a game that is as popular as Punishing Gray Raven and has been out for quite some time, they're going to have a lot more content, and it's going to be a lot more polished than this game is. So they are going to be fighting an uphill battle for sure, but I think if they put enough time and get enough resources, for sure they can have a pretty decent game on their hands. Because honestly, I think it's fairly fluid, the animations are pretty nice, and it does feel a little bit different than Punishing Gray Raven, and the fact that you have 3 characters on your team that are all out at the same time, compared to doing one at a time and just doing combos in that sense. So you can have them out there helping you along with using their skills, and also have like team ups for ultimate abilities, which I think is really nice and a very nice touch to top off the whole thing, as this is their ultimate ability with these 3 people, and it can change depending on how your lineup is set up. So very nice aspect in that regard. I do really like that, and I have to say, I would like to say I enjoyed the music, but when I started this, they actually had an audio bug there where you could turn the music all the way to mute and it was still playing extremely loud. It was like the title menu got stuck and just sent straight back into the regular game. So you had 2 music tracks playing at the same time, blowing my eardrums out. It was a bit of a nightmare, but I did realize that they got a compensation package in the mail that I will show a little bit later for an audio issue, and that did fix it when I actually updated. So that means, as far as I've seen right now, I haven't really ran into any other bugs. That is the only one. It was horrible, but it's the only one. Luckily, BlueStacks does have a volume feature where you can actually turn down through them, and it got rid of the problem for me momentarily. So moving forward into what the summonings look like, I am doing the first one here from the tutorial, and then I'm going to do the 4 tin pulls that I have saved from the mail that I got. So I got 40 in total just for the login. So if you are someone that does like to re-roll until you get some really nice pulls, you can do that. Though I do believe this banner for the first little bit is a guaranteed 5-star in the first 40 pulls, and then after that it is about 70 pulls to hit the pity. So nothing too crazy. It just really depends on whether or not they're going to give you enough for each banner when it comes through, the regular at least, or if you're going to have to save as a free-to-play to try to get a guaranteed character that you want. At which point, the downside with that is it kind of turns you into a meta slave, because you're going to be saving for specific ones, and so you're going to be following, instead of getting characters that you might like based on art, aesthetics, whatever it may be, how their skills work, whether they combo well with your team. That's the downside as a free-to-play. If you have to save, it turns into a meta slugfest, and I'm just hoping that's not what it turns into. But these things right here, I'm not exactly sure what they do yet, but apparently they come in unawakened, and they probably get leveled up as time goes on. I don't exactly know, but I think the way it works is it's some type of ability for your actual character that you can put on. Don't quote me on that. I don't exactly know. I didn't look into them too much because I wasn't worried about pulling them for a little while. But going into the regular pulls, we are doing the 10 pulls, and I showed you what it looked like. Nothing too fancy on the animation, and it shows you fairly quickly whether or not you're going to get a 4-star or 5-star. As you can see, the first ones were purple, and then the 4th pull, which was the guaranteed pity, I did get the 5-star, and luckily, I hope it's lucky because I figured this one actually is pretty good. I do like the way she works. At least I got Asura, and very nice art, very cool design, and in-game she is actually pretty fun to use. So I am excited about that pull. She may not be the best champion. I have no clue. I don't follow meta, I don't follow guides, walkthroughs, anything like that. I do all this gameplay raw. So what you are going to see is everything that I've learned through the game as I play it. And if there are people that are veterans of games like this, if this is something that you've researched a decent amount, if you do want to give me some help in the comment section, that's perfectly fine. I am always down to hear from people and communicate with people in the comments about what they think, what they do, what their best saving options are, anything you can help me, because like I said, I'm not going to watch a walkthrough or a guide or anything. I do this basically on my own. So looking at some of the achievement parts, the course missions, all the different ways they give for earning resources, stuff like the newcomer event, there are a ton to go through, and a lot of really nice resources, along with a lot of summons, which I very much appreciate, because I am very greedy when it comes to that. I want to pull as much as I possibly can. But when you do pull a character, you can go into the training part to learn how the character works, and I went to do that. I was getting ready to, and the game crashed, which is unfortunate, but that's just how life goes. It's a new game. I'm not going to give it any bashings for that. It's not easy to get things to be stable on launch. I'm quite familiar with that, especially with all the gachas that I have played over my career. It tends to happen, so I'm going to be a little lenient with that. But looking at the training, you get to see a little bit of what the character does and what it looks like and how the gameplay feels. This also shows you how to actually utilize the character effectively, so you don't have to go in and just straight up trying to figure everything out yourself. Also, there is a combo meter on this side that affects how much attack damage you do, and a Mon Index multiplier type thing. I don't exactly know what that does yet. I'm still trying to look into it. I'm still learning some of the stuff, so bear with me on that. But I do like the fact that they do have a combo meter, making you do extra attacks, so it gives you more chances, if you're playing better, to actually clear a little bit faster. I do like that aspect. Going in, you can actually level up the character's weapon, so that's nice to see, as long as they don't make it to where you can get stronger versions of the weapons, because that's the hardest part. If I want to pull on something, I don't want to pull on the character and the weapon. That's one thing that I think Punishing Grey Raven got a little wrong, because you don't necessarily need the weapon, but you have to spend too much to max the character. So if you're not wailing out, you're probably not going to be at the top tier when it comes to that. So far I am happy with how they have it set up. And just real quick, that is called an ultimate skill chain, and as you can see here, if you have the two characters in the lineup, then their ultimate works together, which is really, really nice, and a nice little adding to the feature to make the ultimates just a little bit stronger, something really cool, and this is what their ultimate combined looks like. Very nice animation, very nice features. I do really like this system, and I do think the gameplay is really good. And when I was comparing it to Punishing Grey Raven earlier, the main reason is there is a bullet time feature where you dodge at the correct time to dodge their attacks, and it puts them in basically slow-mo, same kind of style as PGR, but also if you're attacking an enemy for an extended duration, or maybe it only works on the really tanky enemies, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it will take you from like a bullet time thing into another room where it looks like you're in a simulation kind of thing, and you do even more damage while the character is frozen. So it is really, really cool. But now we're getting into one of the downsides that I'm going to see when it comes to free to play, because every character can be taken from whatever level that you get them at all the way up to Transcend rank, which basically you can go from B, A, S, double S, triple S, and then Transcend, which is your maximum peak, which takes 100 packed intel for. So if you're getting a 5-star character and you want to max them out, you're going to have to get a lot of dupes of them, or maybe in the shop system it'll come around every little bit and you can buy those and just slowly save up over time. But not only are you spending for the next rank up to like S or SS, you're spending on the little tablets underneath that give extra stats, so it is a lot of cost to get them all the way up, and I haven't calculated how much it will take. I will do that probably in the finale or something, or if I get one of them leveled all the way up, I might go ahead and do that. But when it comes to the 5 stars, you're going to have to do a lot of pulls, it seems, to actually get that. So that is where the welling aspect is going to come in super handy, and they're going to get a huge advantage. But I don't think that's really necessary, as long as I don't run into some competitive aspect. But once again, with most gachas and anything in this sort, there probably is going to be some type of competitive aspect, which when I do run into it, or if I run into it, I'll let you know and we'll talk about it. But leveling up the skill system seems fairly easy. They've given me a lot of the resources to do it early on, so it is nice to see that there's nothing too crazy about that. I'm not going to have to get some insane upgrades or insane pieces to the character to make it really strong. I just have to level it up with the resources provided. Also, I unlocked a thing called Memtastic, which basically gives you a modifier but also has a downside to it, which is kind of cool. I do like the aspect where it's a kind of an emergency button or something that's going to really help you early on, but it's going to have a drawback if you do have a bit of a problem surviving with it, or you overutilize it, something like that. I do like that aspect, though I haven't used it in combat yet because I haven't needed to. Most of the stuff I do is fairly easy. Moving on to the sigils part of it, this is going to be something that may be a little hard to get as well for a free-to-play player, but I don't exactly know yet because I haven't been able to fully test just how hard it is to get these. But I'm using ones that are 4-star rarity that give me extra attack every 3 pieces. So I put on the 6 pieces to get the double set bonus, and then I'm leveling them up to their max without limit breaking them, just so I can get a little extra damage and defense, HP, whatever it may be on this specific one, just to get me a little extra stats along the way. Moving on to the shop, we do have some of the pieces that you need to level up a character in the Transcendent screen. So, like I said before, if it does pop into the shop and you can purchase them, that could be a way to slow build the Transcendence for a character if they do allow you to get 5-star from that. They do also have ways of getting some of the sigils. You have intel, you have a lot of different resources, but a lot of stuff that I haven't unlocked yet. And as you can see, the intel for Asura is in here as well. And I don't know how to get these chips because they did not tell me when I looked at the actual chips. So I'm sure it's going to be a little difficult to get those or to save those up. But at least if there is a way to earn them, viable way to earn them, then I will do that. then I will definitely be happy with that. But a part of the shop has the tokens that you get from the summons, so these can be turned in for some resources for leveling up, and basically all it is resources for leveling up. These ones that I'm purchasing here are for the limit break, so a character will go to a max level 20, you limit break them the first time, they can go to 30, and so on and so forth. You're just using those to get to that point. So the shop does look pretty decent, it looks pretty promising, which I am excited to see. But as far as it goes, I've made a little bit of progress. I'm not going to show too much here because, like I said, this is the first day, and it's just a breakdown of what I'm seeing right off the bat. We'll get into more detail on most of the stuff later on, but I'm going to leave you with that, guys. I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.